This is Nicholas 6, GypsyRock guitar lesson 1. Okay, I'm gonna give a basics on guitar and how to write your own song, how to do chord progression quickly. I wish someone would have did this for me a long fucking time ago. I would have progressed much faster. Anyway, first thing you need to do when you're learning guitar is get a metronome and practice scales to the beat of the metronome, whatever setting you set it at. If you like fast music, practice at fast settings. If you like slow music, practice at slower settings, although you can play fast to a slow beat. You know what I mean. You want to practice what time signatures you like, what timing you like. So you pick your favorite scales. You set your metronome, and they're very cheap. You can get them anywhere, any music store. You pick your favorite scales. If you like rock music, a lot of it is the blues scale, pentatonic, or a lot of heavy metal is minor scale, harmonic minor, stuff like that. My preferred scale is what I call the flat scale, because I don't even remember what it's called. You have a half step between the root note and the second note. So the second note's flat, the third note's flat, the sixth note is flat, the seventh note is flat. So I just call it the flat scale because damn near everything's flat in that scale that I use a lot. And it has kind of a dark, like, metally sound if you wanted to. It sounds cool. The way I play too, I also play in drop D. Like my bottom string, the thick string on the guitar, is tuned to D instead of E. It's a step lower. It gives it a deeper sound. What bands use that tuning? Soundgarden, Tool, Black Sabbath use that tuning. Drop D on the top string gives you a heavier, crazier, just better sound. I love that tuning. I love it. I always play that way. It's the only way to play, in my opinion. But that's just me. So you pick your favorite scale. Maybe it's the pentatonic. Okay, you're going to play the blues scale, the pentatonic. You can get a book or go online and see what the blues scale is, okay? You look at that scale, how it correlates to your guitar. You set your metronome. You practice for 2 weeks to different timings, playing scales. It's boring as fuck. Do it anyway. I did it. It gave me timing for the rest of my life. It's worth it. Trust me. That's the first thing you do. Always before you play, make sure your guitar's in tune. Otherwise, you're going to sound like shit no matter what you play. Stuff like that. Oh, and I wanted to talk about how a half and whole step correlates to your guitar. When I use the term half step, on your guitar, that would be 1 fret up. So if your finger was on the first fret of the guitar, on that note, you would just move up 1 fret. That'd be a half step up. A whole step up would be 2 frets. That would be a whole step separation between the 2 notes. 2 frets. So that's what I mean by half step and whole step. Every scale is a variation of the major. That's how I look at music. The major is the origin. Everything else is a variation of it. What is the step pattern of the major scale? Whole, whole, half, whole, 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 half. You remember that pattern. That's how you remember the major scale. That's how you remember your scale that you like to use, what variation it is from the major. So when I say I like the flat scale, that means when I say the second note is flat, that means it's flat in comparison to the major scale. The major scale is your origin. So again, I like the flat scale. So the separation between the first and second note is only a half step. I change it to that. The difference between that and the major is the separation in the major scale between the first and second note is a whole step. So my scale, the flat scale, whatever it's called in real life, I forget, where the second note in the scale is flat. In comparison to the major, that's the difference. That's how you remember your scales that you like, the minor, whatever, the diminished scale, whatever you like. And again, I wish someone would have gave me this info when I was like 20 years old. I would be so much better than I am right now. And I would have been writing way better things a long time ago. But the person I mentioned in the title is learning how to play guitar, and I just thought I'd help her out. Because, like I said, I wish I had somebody to tell me this knowledge. I just told you years of knowledge in a few minutes. I know some of you will, all of you probably won't appreciate it, and think it's boring as fuck. I know, but someone that really wants to learn guitar should listen to what I just said. My God, it would have saved me so much time if I had known why chords are called what they're called, why scales are called what they're called. If I had known all that stuff and chord progression, and all chord progression is, you pick different points in the scale to move to. So if you're playing in the key of E or something, your root note is E. That's what key you're playing in. That's, you pick the E minor scale or something. The separation between the first and second note is 1 and 2. So I'm going to move from 1, play a chord on the root note, which was E. I'm going to play a chord for a while, E, and then I'm going to move up to F sharp, because that's one step above, that's a whole step above E. So, okay, I'm going from 1 to 2. Then you could go from 2 to 6. That's chord progression. You plan out what you're going to play. Or you play something and then you say, what progression did I just use there? Because sometimes you just play stuff by gut, by feeling. And then you can look back at it later and say, okay, what did I do there so I can remember it? What chord progression did I use? That's the type of knowledge that's so important. And I wish someone would have shared it with me. And I'm sorry to ramble so long about this. I know most of you aren't going to know even what the fuck I'm talking about. But it's valuable knowledge for someone that really wants to learn. Peace be ever with thee.